Hello guys and welcome to my new video. In this one we're gonna talk about Arms Warrior in early Wrath of the Lich King 1 vs 1 scenarios. Keep in mind that I'm not talking about arena but just 1 vs 1 matchups, because it's quite different situation. Arms always do great amount of damage if it's supported with heals like in arenas and battlegrounds. But in this season, if you find yourself isolated in open world when doing quests or duels, make sure to be aware of weaknesses this class had in very beginning of this expansion. Also, I want to mention that this video may be a lower quality because I saw that season 5 is about to end on July 14 before I started making it. So I was short on time and I had to speed up a little bit, so sorry in advance. Now let's get back to the main topic. In general, I had a very bad experience playing this pack in season 5. I don't call myself good warrior, far from that, but if I had so much problems with knowledge I have, I can imagine what would be scenario with worse players than me. You simply can't call one pack underdog against Arms Warrior in crafting gear. This pack hugely misses critical and armor penetration and has the later phases of Wrath. I find myself not critting mortal strikes after the charge, which is just insane against casters. You lack that critical and damage which can compensate other weaknesses later. You lack survivability with 600 to 700 resilience, reflects are pretty RNG on top of that if enemy decides or not decided to fake the cast. However, season 5 is not only about crafting gear. There are hateful and deadly pieces with some better trinkets available for arena rating, which can surely make your warrior hit heavier. So let's start with Paladins. Believe me or not, you have a chance of beating Retribution Paladins and even some lower skilled pregs. In season 5 they have pretty low resilience and mortal strikes 50% healing reduction make them pretty vulnerable. You have to be aggressive and never let your mortal strike disappear. We have a preg here which is a little bit harder. I open with charge and instant disarm so I can apply random mortal strike without taking a damage. If you see wings, good way to counter it is retaliation and blade storm right after the mortal. That way he must deal some damage to you if he wants to make art procs for instant heals. Meanwhile his heals are reduced and you are reflecting damage on top of that. He used Divine Sacrifice like he should on Blade Storm, but I didn't use Retaliation. That put me in inferior position because he didn't hesitate to deal the damage, and I was forced to go into instant defensive stance Shield Wall from Blade Storm. On top of that, I had to overuse my defensives by using Shield Block in same time, so I can refresh Rend and Mortal Strike. Meanwhile, I hit some couple of revenges, and as soon as I reapplied debuffs, I used Fear to make a small space for charge plus retaliation followed by recklessness for insane damage. Also, I haven't mentioned that you can try dispelling wings with Shield Slam while you're in defensive stance. Here we got another preg paladin. As I said, start with charge, rend and some early design with mortal. That way you can also buy some time and see if he goes with wings or not for potential retaliation. He can disturb you with repentance and stun while he's disarmed, but don't panic and don't trinket repentance by mistake. It leads to guaranteed death. As we can see, he didn't pop wings, so no exact need for retaliation before Blade Storm. You can see that I cancelled Blade Storm to reapply Mortal Strike just when it ended. That's crucial against pregs. Keep the Dame Immortal up. I entered wall without real threat and Shield Block was enough to land some Ravages instead. I waited to reapply Rend and Mortal once again, then I used Regeneration to keep me up while I performed total offensive with Retaliation and Recklessness. Believe me or not, I find rogues least threatening for season 5 warriors. They're probably spec I had the best winning percents against. You just need to have good knowledge about rogues to make it a little bit easier. You need to understand when they can use blind, when cannot, when you can switch to battle stance, when not, when to trinket kidney, use shield wall or retaliation. It depends from rogue to rogue and there is a plenty of different playstyles and spell orders, so I can't tell you what you exactly need to do because it varies a lot. This guy has like 66% wins in 300 duels. First thing you want to look at is if he used Shadow Dance in opener or not. Most likely you will need to trinket it in season 5 because you can lose half HP just from opener. They will also much likely put some of the bleeds on you and try that zoning. That's the perfect situation for trinketing kidney and using instant shield wall because you cannot be blinded. Also, I forgot to mention that hitting rend above his head is crucial when trinketing. Trust me, more than 60% of times I hit rend through evasion that way. As I said, I used shield wall instantly and he started dead zoning. Keep him in combat with thunderclap, demoralizing shout and throne, so he cannot re-stealth and chip shot. I also use heroic strike to hit him when he come close to me. When shield wall ended, I tried to change stance blade storm to remove crippling poison slow and hit charge. He immediately start chasing me for disarm, so I failed, but I succeed to reapply rend and go back fast to defensive stance because kidney is out of cooldown. Don't trinket this kidney either if you're around half HP because he will blind you. First thing you want to do is regeneration and keeping him in combat. You can see how desperately he tried to force my trinket with another chip shot and kidney shot, just to blind and finish me off. But I didn't fall for it, and that's the only reason I won. Most of people would trinket this because he was low on HP and he could just blind and reopen and that's it. And you can clearly see that he perfectly knows what he's doing in every moment. I will now show you a little bit more aggressive play against rogues with overpowered. You need to know that if he uses kidney shot in opener without shadow dance, you can switch to battle stance and go aggressive because he cannot stun you. Overpower cannot be dodged or parried, which means it passes evasion and almost always crits. It hits like truck. If he doesn't use shadow dance in opener, never use your trinket. You can see instant rend apply through evasion, then battle stance, retaliation and overpower, then successful charge spam with some huge mortal strike above his head, and instant defensive stance with potential shadow dance. Don't trinket blind if you don't have rend on him. He can simply vanish and open with full kidney shot and you can die without chance of using shield wall. Now let's advance to harder enemies. Enhancement Shaman. If Shaman plays well, you can beat him in Season 5. There are multiple reasons behind that. First thing is Earthbind Totem, which removes hamstring and piercing hold slows. So in fact you cannot slow him ever, which allows him to kite out your defensive and offensive spells very easy. I tried to go offensive at start with retaliation and all I had is slow, freeze, wall sprint and so on. For defensives too, if you start with shield block to apply random mortal, you will be easily kited, so you need to change stance and cancel the shield block because he cannot be slowed. And on top of that, he deals so much mixed damage that your armor doesn't help that much. Now I just want you to watch the next video. This wasn't damage test or something like that, this was real duel. He hit freeze at start and one storm strike. I was still frozen, he used Fire Nova and one more Storm Strike when it came from cooldown. I was dead. I did win in some damage racing duels with Blade Storm and Retaliation on start, but this one was the closest I was in the normal duel. I hit Rand and Mortal and I knew he's soon summoning wolves, so my plan was Retaliation and Blade Storm when I see them. Of course, he started running away with wolves on passive, but I didn't want to stop as long as I deal damage to them. I changed to Berserker stance to hit the intercept and renew a random mortal strike, so he cannot heal freely. And I instantly switched to defensive stance and shield block, so I can finish off wolves with revenges. Small tip against wolves and other pets is to backpedal like noob, because they will be face to face with you and you will block 100% of attacks. I killed wolves, which is huge thing, and from now there is not much I can talk about. I lost 1 versus 1, he had better damage and that's it. I showed you first video where I was humiliated in 5 seconds, so leaving defensive stance and going for recklessness where I get 20% more damage is lose too, I guess. I had 5 to 7k HP, which can be 1 critical from his Wind Fury with 1 shock and I would be dead. Duel with Fire Mage has a lot of RNG in it. It depends a lot on their and your critical strikes and passive disarm on hit, which can be insanely unlucky in some situations. Start with Blood Rage and try to hit Rend. Rend is your main spell to land and first hit because it deals some nice damage and can drain their mana pretty well with Mana Shield. They are always 1 cooldown ahead from you because they have 1 disorient effect, 1 knock, 1 blink and 1 ice block on top of that. I failed to land Rand here, but with first charge I succeed. Intercept was in vain because he blinked away. In situations like this, when you lost half HP from nothing with clones summoned, you need instant shield wall while waiting for charge and intercept to come back from cooldown. While running like chicken, make sure to land some thrones from time to time. After second charge, try to hit Mortal Strike because it's most likely that it will be critical strike. Shattered Throat should be saved for Ice Block, but since I didn't use Intimidating Shout on clones, I used it for some nice bonus damage. I was hardly slowed here and I couldn't reach him, so I decided to use Blade Storm. If I continued walking, he would heal much more and I would probably face instant disorient effect and then Ice Block on Blade Storm, so it's maybe even worse if I walked to him. I wanted to avoid CC here, but I wasn't sure if he has Freezing Nova or not, and maybe I couldn't be able to reach him with fear that way. You can see that he silenced me once more, so I cannot fear the clones, so I was instantly forced for shield wall once again. I found Shadow Priest very hard to beat in this bracket. All they need to do is Devouring Plague spam because it deals absolutely insane damage. You don't need to cast Vampiric Touch, just Shadow Wall Pain, Devouring Plague spam and Pattern Star that will force your shield wall in first 5 to 7 seconds, while you barely break his shield. It's true that I didn't fear his pet, but one silence would also make everything the same. Everyone who understood how improved Devouring Plague is OP in lower bracket has beaten me. Everyone who tries to cast and heal lost from me. I lost plenty of times from this guy because I dealt 2 to 3k damage and I'm forced to wall in first couple of seconds. So I tried with early Blade Storm here, expecting him to go Dispersion, and then I make full pressure, but he simply disarmed me with Horror and that's it. But anyway, I was closer than before. Once again, I had to wall very fast. He tried one fake cast, which I didn't fall for, Second cast I kicked a gun full damage with recklessness, and that wasn't enough. Maybe if I hit overpower instead of execute on his flash heal, I would decrease effectiveness of that heal by 50% and win, but I doubt since he had 3k HP left, which is one more hit. Elemental Shamans are also insanely tough enemies. The longer the duel, the more chances for you to lose. They have Eternal Kiting possibility with Earthbind Totem, Root which is available every 10 seconds. Stonecloud Totem for damage absorb, Earthbind for Root, Thunderstorm for knock off, and Wolfhorn to run away and heal, make this class so annoying for warriors. So you have to be lethal from start and try to reflect Lava Burst or to use Shield Wall for it. Otherwise, in Season 5 you can lose more than half HP from 1.4 second chain cast and instant Lava Burst. Start with Close Range, Blood Rage and Rand. Most likely will be rooted instantly and Shaman will start casting Lava Burst. Reflect, like every other, is 50-50% luck if caster want to fake it or not. Maybe more possibilities are there. The first cast will be surely be faked. That will buy some time to make a first charge without getting damaged. I fell for fake cast, but I made a charge. I saw Elemental Mastery, which means instant Lava Burst, so I switched to Shield Wall instantly because my Reflect was one more second on cooldown, and it was a great decision and reflex. Right after that I reflected Hex and started Bladestorm to make a pressure and avoid potential root. True, I didn't have Mortal on him, but I was ready to bash him from Bladestorm with macro and lock his healing school. I used that day's time to reapply Mortal and then ran. As soon as I hit Intercept, which is bigger stun than charge, I use my Recklessness to finish the things off with small reminder that I have Trinket. Destruction Warlock with Succubus also look very hard to beat. The easiest opener is charge plus Bladestorm if Succubus is on Warlock, but that is easily counterable by putting path to stay away from lock and teleport on the other side. I personally don't know how to beat a good lock and I didn't have much Warlocks to practice with, but it seems like trinketing a first charm and instant shield wall maybe would be the right choice to do. I mean, you get the most of the damage from opener where you cannot react with 10 and 5 second charms, so why not walling right after the trinket? That will force Warlock to cast on 65% reduced damage target because he already made a 90% diminishing return on charm and fear. In both videos I didn't use shield wall like I mentioned in the first clip, so I didn't really try that tactic. Maybe I'm wrong, but let me know in the comment section if there is a reasonable way of beating a lock. When he teleported back, I used Intercept and Hamstring with Bladestorm to prevent potential charm. He used the time from Tail Bolt, which I kicked with Bash. He wanted to fear me right after it, and I immediately reflected it, and used that time for Recklessness, but he charmed me once again. That will be everything I will cover with voice for this video. I'll post some duels with Hunter, which I truly believe is 50-50 to win against good one. which I haven't met making this video, and some duels with Feral Druids, Unholy Decay and Frost Mage, which are 100% lose when played against good players. But I can't talk now about that because video would be 40 minutes long, but I can explain very easy why these are the facts and not opinions. So thanks everyone for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you soon in the next video, and peace.
Last night, I saw your arms around somebody. I never thought it'd be so hard, yeah. Even though I'm the one that broke us apart, yeah. Now I'm seeing her, watching you. Never felt so lonely, baby.